Hey everyone, in this video we're going to go through the sound architecture of the Digitakt. I think this is just really important to understanding how everything works together and what makes this sound so good. I've got pattern beauty lined up. It's bank A pattern 13. It's kind of a nice chill pattern to work with. All right, so the Digitakt is a sample playback engine. So it doesn't create its own sounds, it doesn't have its own voice. It's playing back samples. And those samples go through a bit of processing before they come out and go into our sound system. Under the source button, you can see the samples are listed right here. And if I turn this, we can see that for track 1, the sample that's coming through is just a little audio file of a bass drum. So this audio file on track 1 is going to go through a bit of a process. The first thing it's going to go through is the overdrive, and that's in the amp submenu. It's right here. So we have our source, which is a sample. That goes into the amp with all of these parameters. So the envelope affects the amp and the overdrive. Now right here, the delay and reverb, that's going to come into play a little bit down the road. So I'm going to skip the bottom part of this for right now. So after it goes through the amp envelope and the overdrive part of this submenu, we're going to go to the filter. And this colors our sound. After it goes through the filter, that's where pan comes in because you want the filter changing the sound before you decide which way you're going to send it. And after we decide where we're going to pan it, that's where these two buttons or where these two knobs come in, the delay and the reverb. And it's important to note that with these two right here on an individual track, you're not actually adding reverb at all. You're deciding how much of a signal you should send to the reverb and how much of a signal you should send to the delay. So if you don't have any reverb on the global master, then sending reverb here isn't going to do anything. So those are the delay and reverb sends. So now at this point, you will have a source that goes through the amp, through the filter, and then we pan and send off to delay and reverb, and the sound also goes to the mixer. So you're sending the sound of the mixer, possibly sending it to delay, possibly sending it to reverb. Let's keep going with those 3 different paths. So if it goes into the delay, if you push function delay, this is our global delay. So this is where if you send delay from each of the tracks, it will come here and you can change its settings. And these are going to be the same for all of your different tracks. So like, for instance, if I turn the feedback down for 1, no matter which one I go through, the feedback's down. Let's actually go back to number 1 and turn up the delay. You can kind of hear it. And if I go to the master delay, now I can control its parameters. So, and I'll talk about how to control the delay and all that other stuff in a later video. We're going to get into the reverb and how to work with effects. But I think it's just important to really recognize that this isn't actually adding on delay and reverb. It's telling the Digitakt how much signal you should be sending to the delay and reverb. And then you can control the delay and reverb globally for all the tracks by pushing function, reverb, function, delay. So it gets a little bit confusing here too, but our delay can also send the delayed signal out to reverb as well. So you can control how much of the source material is going from each of the tracks into the reverb. You can also control how much of the delay, that echo, is going into reverb. And then right here on the reverb, you can decide whether you're going to have it be before compression or after compression. So it's really confusing, but it's important to have all these things in mind. And all of that goes into the master. So it's delay, reverb, master. And here you have your compressor window, which you can control compression. And right here, you can control the amount of compressed signal versus dry signal. If you push it again, if you hold it and push it again, there's 3 different pages. See, it says 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3. The first page is just the settings for the compression. The second page is an internal mixer, which can be really handy if you're performing live and you want to adjust the different volumes of the different tracks. And then an external mixer for how much you're sending everything. So, really, I think that the most important takeaway from this, I've talked with lots of people who use the Digitakt, and the first thing I asked before making this series was really looking for where people were confused at first. And the delay and reverb sends seemed to throw some people off that they would go into a track and try to put on some delay and it wasn't working. This is just sending a signal to the delay, which access by pressing func delay. So that's the basic signal flow of the Digitakt. In the next video, we're going to go into our data structure and start to introduce some of the concepts in the settings menu. And so you can organize your projects and know where everything is, and you can approach things in a kind of organized way. So I hope you like this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Once again, thanks so much to Perfect Circuit for sponsoring this video series. If you find these helpful, please make sure to subscribe. I'm going to be releasing many more videos. And once we get through all the basic stuff, I'm going to try and include some tips and tricks and things like that. So make sure you subscribe, turn on the notifications, all that jazz. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.